What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 218 of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled, I'm Glad I Spoke With You Today. Welcome back to episode 218 of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast, entitled, I'm Glad I Spoke With You Today. This episode is a follow-up from last week's podcast on 10-Minute Friends. As I held a few group sessions with that podcast and got feedback from listeners by email and WhatsApp, the common response was, I don't even have one person I feel safe to talk to. So I figured we needed a little bit more on that topic. So I contacted my friend Michael, and he agreed to go on a walkabout with me through the I'm Glad I Spoke With You Today park. As we walk to each sign, Michael will share his thoughts and reactions. Hope it helps those of you who had some questions and some concerns of how do I even go about this from the last episode. So as we start the walk, the sign says, as you walk through this park, we urge you to read the quotes on each sign and reflect on the words about finding the strength to keep walking and to make some friends and people we can talk to. So as you do it, I want you to think about Michael's responses and see how your responses would be, and maybe write them down in your journal or to-do list or however you take notes. The theme for this part came from comments by Elliot Stabler in Law and Order Organized Crime. It was an episode entitled Stabler's Lament, and it takes place with him in a cemetery talking to his wife's tombstone. Okay? So let's head down the path and see where the signposts lead us. You ready, Michael? Okay, David. I don't know about the tombstone, but let's head on down and see what it says. We come to the first sign, and these are all going to be quotes of what Elliot said in the episode. The first one says, sometimes I feel like I don't know where I am, as if the world and everything in it has become unrecognizable. What do you think, Michael? Wow, David, that's me to a T. It seems like during the years I was in addiction, the world and everything and everyone in it changed. And it changed so much. I feel like I am a stranger in a strange land as I'm walking in my recovery. Nothing seems familiar. Nothing seems recognizable to me. I guess I would agree with Elliot Stabler that the world and everything in it has become unrecognizable. Okay, well, let's go down to the next sign and see what that says for us. Okay, here it is. It says, it's all the stuff that makes up life. It's that I'm just lost. Sure, David, again, spot on. I know the town I'm in, but I don't have a clue how to fit in anymore. I see everyone around me living life, but I'm lost, and I don't even know where to start. I feel like I don't belong anywhere that life is happening. Wow. That's deep, Michael. That feeling of not just being lost in a town we recognize, but feeling like we don't belong anywhere that life is happening. And that's one of the things that we all go through early on in recovery, because we're coming out of the just feeling dead in addiction and just feeling numb in addiction. And we're not really sure what life's all about anymore or how to find life. And it's normal that we feel lost and we feel like we just don't belong or fit in anywhere that life is happening. So it's a good challenge to say, how do we start to fit in again? How do we start to live again and take part in the life that is happening all around us? Okay. You ready to go down to the next sign, Michael? Sure, David. This one says, again, Elliot Stabler talking to the tombstone. It's like I'm in a world that's changed, and I'm trying, but... Sure, David. Each sign digs a little deeper. Totally true. The world has changed without me. I have no clue how to catch up. Like Elliot, I keep trying, but... yeah, I don't even know what the rest of the sentence would be. It makes me think maybe I need to move to a new place or a new city, a new country. Just move somewhere in order to find the freedom to just enjoy the stuff of life without struggling to catch up all the time. Because, as Elliot Stabler said, I'm in a world that's changed. And it's a struggle to try to catch up all the time, to try to fit in, especially when you have no clue how to catch up, because just the act of catching up keeps me sort of stuck in the remorse of what's lost and what's changed. So I think this is a good one. I see the world has changed and I'm trying. So maybe it's time for me to change the world, the place, the town, the community, the friends that I'm in and that I'm with, so that I don't have to catch up. I can just be me. Good thoughts, Michael. Let's head on down the trail and see what the next sign says. Okay, it says, I feel, and it feels like the world is spinning so fast, and I'm just barely hanging on. So I watch everything I once had and loved, still love, fly away. Wow, David. I need to sit down for this one. I'm so tired of hanging on by a thread, or barely hanging on, as Elliot said. I've seen everything I had and loved fly away. But I never sat down and talked about it. I just sort of watched them fly away like someone watching a plane fly away overhead. And as everything and everyone flew away, to be honest, I just got high to numb the pain each time I lost someone or something I loved. And like Elliot said, many of them I still love. And so it's not just that they've all flown away, they're not people that I used to love. They're people and places that I still love, but they have flown away. And as he said, I feel like I'm just barely hanging on. I feel like I'm just barely hanging on too, but the threads that I'm hanging on by are getting thinner and thinner, and I don't know how long I can hold on. Wow. I see why you wanted to sit down and talk about this one, because when we're hanging on by a thread, it can just be the fear of the thread breaking and us crashing again as it breaks. And almost it feels better to just let go and drop at our own timing and wherever we are. You ready to go down to the next sign, Michael? Okay, David. Yeah, I guess we need to finish this walk. And this one is the last sign, and it says, as Elliot was ready to leave the cemetery, his parting words for his wife's tombstone were, I'm really glad that I spoke with you today. Wow. David, I understand where he's coming from there. And I want to thank you so much for going on this walkabout with me today. I too am glad I got to speak with you today. You're not a tombstone, you're a real person. But I don't have even a tombstone to go talk to the people that have flown away. And maybe that's a thought that I need to work on before I go to a new place or find a new place. Where can I go to talk to the people that have flown away or passed on? To just be able to talk, just be able to get my feelings out, or even just to figure out what my feelings are by just talking about them. I know we just scratched the subject, David, and I feel like we need to come back and spend like 30 minutes or an hour at each sign. But to be honest, when we do that, I can probably only handle one sign at a time. So can I keep talking to you, and maybe we can talk once a week about each of these signs and work through each of them? Sure, Michael, that's a great idea. And I want to encourage all the listeners, if you want to talk about one of those signs, whether it's a tombstone or a place of remembrance, or giving me or your sponsor or a friend a call and saying, hey, listen to this episode and let's spend the next few weeks just talking about each sign one at a time, so that I can end each day saying, I'm glad I spoke with you today. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you were saying, that's me, I think I need to speak to a tombstone or speak to someone, then it's time now to reach out. Join a group, call a friend, send an email, send a WhatsApp, whatever. Just get in touch with someone. And you can message me on the link in this podcast if you're really not sure who you can talk to, and I'll be there to at least talk and see what we can do going forward. You can email me at davidfromatod@gmail.com or go to my website, www.fromatod.org, and click on the contact page. If you're listening on Spotify, you can leave your comments by clicking on the link they provide in that platform. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay resilient.